If you're like me and you stopped playing Dune Awakening back in what, September of 2025, and you're thinking about jumping back in, then this is going to be the perfect video for you. Not only am I excited to share the information about what has changed, but I am extremely confident to say that this is an entirely new game. And frankly, it's what it should have been on release. In terms of quality of life anyway. What's going on, guys? It's Crispy ENT. Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go over the game that could have been, alright? Dune Awakening. This game played a key role in not only my content, but my love for survival crafts. I mean, it finally made me join the main audience and actually watch the movies. I never watched the movies prior to this game releasing.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Hey, but that's besides the point. This game has picked up some new story content, major quality of life updates, changes to the deep desert, and a pretty significant in-game shift. So if you're returning after some time away, then I'm going to walk you through every key change to the game. If you find this video helpful, consider dropping a like, subscribing to the channel, and commenting down below if you're going to be returning to this new content or are you going to keep Dune shelved. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Now, while I'm not going to cover every tiny adjustment or minor balance tweak, instead, I'm going to focus on updates that change how the game feels, how it plays, and what us returning players should focus on first. Going all the way back to the first real content drop, Chapter 2, The Story Expands, released in September of last year, giving players more reason to keep moving through the world instead of just regrinding the same old loop. We were given a new vehicle, the Treadwheel, new archetype armors, as well as other character customization options such as different hairstyles as well as tattoos. Adding on to the character customization, we were also given the option to fully revamp our character, which wasn't an option at first, and I know a lot of players were very upset about this. We were also given our first real change to the deep desert, which was removing those pesky little borders they had in between the sections, and you guys know about those. You know, the ones where you go through and you just start rubber banding, and now all of a sudden you're on the ground and your ornithopter is sinking in the quicksand. Like, it was ridiculous. I mean, I quite literally had two friends stop playing the moment they lost their copter to this issue, so I mean, this change was something. Now, I know those other ones may sound like smaller details on paper, but this is what began helping the game feeling a lot more complete and personalized. This update also gave us more to the story of Dune, opening up an entire new storyline, introducing us to new characters as well as locations. Chapter 2 started something that truly began to make the game feel like how we all wanted to on release. So this content is the very first thing you'll feel a difference in on your return. For our next section, I want to cover the feel of the game. So we're mainly going to cover the quality of life changes because this is what, in my honest opinion, should have been here on release or at least a lot sooner than 3 months post-launch. Post-launch of Chapter 2 in the Lost Harvest DLC, Funcom began rolling out updates that were greatly improving the feel of Dune Awakening. Some key points of these updates were the vehicle recovery tool, expanded bank storage, building improvements, as well as overall convenience updates. Vehicle recovery alone was huge because it saved time and frustration in a game where losing or misplacing a vehicle can be very painful. I'm talking to you, deep desert boarders. Using the same tool you use to pocket your vehicles, we were given a new option, recovery mode. This allowed for players to recover any vehicle no matter what happened to it, sandworm, other players, or just simply destroying it. You could recover that vehicle no matter what. So this was an amazing change for the player base. The bank storage was also drastically increased from 25 to 500 slots, and the volume itself was increased from 1,500 to 30,000. So inventory issues were practically gone after this update. Players were also given the option to directly replace building pieces with other compatible pieces. So instead of breaking a piece that actually ends up destroying an entire section of your home, you can simply replace it. Now, there are some other changes and tweaks, but these are some of the key ones that truly changed how the game felt. Now, moving on over to the deep desert. It's got some nice quality of life changes as well, being that everyone can now receive the loot from PvP areas no matter if people are there or not. There were also some changes to how the schematics worked in the deep desert. Alright, they can now never go off rotation, allowing for players to acquire them at any point in time. These schematics are still tied to certain locations like the testing stations or shipwrecks, but they can now be any schematic. Okay, the deep desert is where the game truly lost its player base in the first months of release because of how poorly designed it was. These changes were the start of players feeling like Funcom was actually listening and doing what the community needed. Alright, needed, that's the key word here. The DD was also given more variety to its maps, so it felt a lot less repetitive, as well as being given more rock density. This allowed for more building spaces for all the bases that these players wanted to put down. And finally, probably the biggest change to the deep desert is the PvP and PvE instances now. Players can now choose whether they want to go into a PvP instance or a PvE instance, which is exactly what it sounds like. Either the entire DD is going to be PvE, or it's going to be like your traditional PvP, where your starting area is going to be good, but the moment you head off those rocks, you are entering the PvP zone. This change alone brought back a good chunk of players due to the fact that players can simply enjoy the game they're playing and the progress that is now going uninterrupted. Now, if these changes are not good enough and I have not convinced you that Dune is very much replayable, then how about character transfers, as well as Chapter 3 completely revamping the endgame as a whole? That means the long-term structure of progression has been reworked in a way that could affect affect how you build, grind, and plan your next steps. This new endgame is built around a new Landsraad system, adding mission-based progression through specializations and augmentations, as well as introducing new overland locations, including repeatable testing stations with scaling boss fights and better rewards. On top of that, the story continues. The deep desert has been polished, and returning players who have been away for more than 28 days now get a welcome back care package to help them jump in faster. I mean, honestly, chapter 3 is said to be the biggest update Funcom has released thus far, and it truly feels that way as well playing it myself. This redesigned Landsraad allows for players to select missions which will allow them to earn faction ranks, great house standing, as well as specialization XP. The most important of these has to be the specialization XP. This new system is the true endgame now, introducing 5 new specialization tracks that will let you deeper refine how you play. These tracks are crafting, gathering, exploration, combat, and sabotage. The more XP you gain, the more traits you will unlock that will have some significant bonuses. These bonuses include things like increasing headshot damage, inventory slots, as well as unlocking another new system known as augmentations. Augments can now be added to unique tier 6 weapons and armor, increasing their power even further. Augments can be found in new testing stations and added to gear in the new augmentation station. There are a total of 10 new overland map locations, and on top of that, they removed the need for fuel and water when traversing this map. 5 of those new locations are repeatable and are the new main locations for Landsraad missions, progressing your specialization, faction rank, as well as great house standing. We were also given more to the story of Dune, new cosmetics, and completely removed base taxes, making for some much easier base upkeep. So to wrap all of this up, if you've been away for Dune for as long as I have, which was around the release of chapter 2, then there is much more to this game than ever before. It is honestly now a better time than ever to get in and catch up, because I'm honestly releasing this video right before server migrations, and I've already kind of got myself set up for server migrations, which is going to be yet another feature that I feel like will revive this game and bring back a good chunk of the player base. All in all, Dune did have a rocky start, but I think it's safe to say now that Dune has everything there is to offer for a survival craft, and I truly think that if you're a returning player or even a new player, you should definitely give this game a shot. I definitely feel like I should sneak in that this is not a sponsored video, okay? Funcom is not paying me to upload this video. These are my honest thoughts and opinions, okay? So let me just put that out there real quick. But hey, with all that being said, if you guys enjoyed the video, please show your support by dropping a like. Comment down below if you're going to be jumping back in, or if you're, like I said, just going to keep doing shelf. I do wish you all the best, and I hope to see you on Arrakis. Hey, it's Chris BNT, and I'm up out of here.